Good morning, my creative collective. Welcome to your daily creative reading for June 27th. My voice may be a little bit raspier because I was doing some singing yesterday and getting adjusted to it again, which has been wonderful. But nonetheless, let's just dive in, shall we? I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, so we're going to pull from the postcards from Spirit deck here. Okay, so, the back says wild love, or with love. I was like, I'll take both, please. With love. Okay. Dearest you, selfless giving is an elixir so sweet and life-giving and amazing that it should be customary for everyday living. Right now, generosity is being asked of you. Let go of a debt, release an obligation, or do a solid kindness for someone for no other reason than as an exercise of the heart. You will be surprised how quickly a generous heart is repaid. We know it often doesn't happen in the immediate exchange, so temper your expectations. Know that life has an uncanny way of sending miracles seemingly unrelated to your kindness, yet interconnected in magical ways. The more you act from generosity, the bigger your heart grows and the more love and abundance you will experience. We also know that someone could be entering your life with a generous offer for you. Take it and trust that you are worthy and deserving of it. You have to receive, not just give. We love you so much over here. I love that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, so we are going to get our day started this Monday. I was visiting my family this weekend, and something that came to mind, I was on the drive yesterday. It was not too long a drive, but still. And I was thinking about how we were at my aunt's house and just watching the fireflies dance across the lawn and up the tree. I missed seeing them, but it was quite magical, and just thinking about how, our lives are both like fireflies. Like, our lives are like fireflies in that they're here and gone, but then also thinking about how, like, the abundance in our lives is quite like that too, right? In terms of receiving, like this card talked about. In terms of receiving, where it's like, it's there and gone, but there's so much that when you pull out and get the big picture, the whole backyard was like sparkling. So thinking about abundance as like that to kick this week off, I think, is where I am at. Seven of Pentacles. High Priestess. High Priestess in reverse, okay. The Empress in reverse. Do we want that? Yeah, okay. I've been pulling cards for myself, and one of the things that keeps coming across is pushing my readings a little further, because I tended to read the reversals intuitively, but just pushing it a bit further and pushing myself in the process just to read them as reversals and see how that energy lands. So, yeah. Six of Swords in reverse. Oh my goodness. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Swords in reverse. Okay, is this whole thing upside down? Yeah, it is. So we're going to do that. Three of Wands. Seven of Swords. And Five of Wands. Okay. So I'm getting here that the reason why these two came out in reverse and why I felt them as well is this sort of throwing everything at work, but disconnecting from intuition. And that's the true abundance here. There's like something that you're working on, but it can't be truly birthed into the world yet. But there's something that's simmering, and it's like missing two ingredients. Like the belief that you can not only do it, this is like a deep knowing, but this is like the combination of the two and birthing it into the world. So it's almost like it's on pause. There's something that you're working on a lot. It's almost like it's on pause, but it's because your intuition is not altogether missing from the picture, but it's difficult to find the you in it. It's difficult to find the you in something because there's not, like, your intuition is missing from it. How do you put that back into it? Well, I think a lot of it is just asking questions of it, right? There's just asking questions. There's a book called Lead with Questions, I think it's called. And I'm a big fan of this. And, working retail, it was always like have open-ended questions when I was working sales as well. Have open-ended questions to see how you can connect to people. And I feel like open-ended questions don't just work to sell people things they don't need. Open-ended questions also work as a way of inquiring within ourselves as to what we need from the behaviors and actions that we engage in around goals that we set or around tasks that we give ourselves or have. So it's a very good thing to keep up, just changing the ways that it's done, and the outcomes that we want as well. Nonetheless, though, I feel like it's like there's so much energy that you have, and I think that reconnecting to your intuition is the really big point here, and not reconnecting to it as in like making it the only, like it's not, we're not like turning this into a black and white thing, right? Like it's not like this or. No, it's both and I think that this is a lot of, it's like, there's like this way that you feel stuck. And then the Six of Swords kind of confirms that for me, where this is the protagonist position though. So there's a lot to learn here, I think, about patterns that you have. There's a lot here. There's a lot of good here, but you are maybe feeling a little bit stuck. We'll clarify in the next row how we free ourselves from that. So, the antagonist position is the Queen of Pentacles, which to me it seems as though there's a way, like what's coming to mind is like, this is, I don't want to say resting on your laurels, but I feel like it's nurturing an idea. And I feel like you've nurtured something enough. Like, I feel like you've nurtured something enough and the ingredients are not nurturing that it needs, but it needs more of you. And I almost feel like this is like that salt guy. I don't know if you remember the meme where he's like putting the salt on the steak. Like, I feel like this is like you sprinkling the seasoning and the salt of you, right? And not like salty, you're so salty. No, it's like putting the special ingredient that you have into something that you're working on. It's like the panache is the word that I'm looking for, like the panache that is you. So what is it that makes this yours, right? I know for me, creativity is my thing. I love it, but so too is marketing, right? So too is writing. So when I work on projects, I try to make sure that I have a balance of like what's necessary and expected for the job, but then throwing something of myself in there too, so that it's fun for me, so that it's engaging, because it's not just to do something for the sake of itself in a way that's like, I need to make it my own. It's not necessarily like that, and we can't do that on every project, right? But this is just finding the boundaries within which you can be creative, because what you're doing is tapping into this depth of yourself. You're tapping into this depth of yourself that allows you to make projects fun, even if they're about very dry things, right? So that's what this is really about here. And I think it's like, it's resisting the challenge today. And this week is, my cat's meowing in the background. I have not had my second cup of coffee yet. And by the second cup of coffee, that's when she gets her wet food. And she's very aware that cup is almost done. She can't measure, but let me tell you. Anyways, I feel, so if you hear her chirping in the background, I feel like the task this week and today is going to be, the challenge, I guess, is taking too calculated a look, taking too strategic a look, too cold a look. I'm getting this as more cold energy because it needs the wands, like the passion, the fiery, positive expectation. And that's the triumph. This is the triumph over the challenge. So it's almost like it sets off this little bit of a domino effect in forward movement and momentum. And interestingly, I think you're able to see this is less about Seven of Swords energy in your midst and more about what you're able to see. Like you're able to see both sides of things. You're able to see the both and in them. You're able to see the multiplicity and the multidimensionality of them. And I think that this is helpful. And this is where I think in a way that's how you kind of regain access to the Empress. That's how you regain access to the High Priestess, right? And that's where, tools like the sort of antidotes to white supremacy culture, I'll put them in the link below again. They're not just useful in terms of dismantling that system that harms many of us, specifically Black people and people of color. I think that it's also useful to look at that and say, like, this is how I also liberate myself, right? This is how I liberate myself from these black and white, all or nothing thinking. This is how I liberate myself from, ways of seeing things that don't give room for the life in it, don't leave room for the people in it, right? And I think that's where it's almost like a training. Maybe this is like the last little bit of training. This is the traditional Rider-Waite I'm thinking of with the wands, and they're in a training capacity. And I think that this is really about the training component, but I think it's giving you another way of seeing, because all of these mirrors strike me as like portals, right? They're portals that haven't really worked before. And there's one that's like just the right way of looking at this. But you have to be willing to see it. And I think it is a kind of training. It's like, to me, it's like a mental training, right? It's a way of seeing things differently. It's a way of seeing things differently. So we're going to dive in here and clarify. Spirit, what messages do you have to clarify for my daily creatives this June 27th? Just as a side note, I hope that anyone who celebrated in Toronto, who were watching, I hope that you had a wonderful Pride. It would have been a little bit too loud for me. And I visited with family this weekend, but I hope that it was wonderful to all of you. So does my cat. So we have the Hermit, the Nine of Wands, Eight of Wands again. I almost feel like this is like an exercise in letting go. Like this is training. Like there's a lot here. So we have the Knight of Cups in reverse, Ace of Swords, the Sun, and the Queen of Swords again. So there's a lot of repeating cards just in this first row alone. And I really feel like there's this way that you've been looking at things very clearly, yes, but the wisdom is in the heart space that you're kind of not giving full heed to, maybe. Or as much as, the Knight of Cups is like, it's wearing your heart on your sleeve. To me, it's being excited about something like that's new, like it's that fresh, like, oh, and being really in that space of excited that it's here, right? And this could also be opportunities you can't really see coming, or opportunities you can't see. So I think this is, I'm hearing advisory committee. This is like sort of an advisory, that it's like, when it comes to your happiness, be clear about your happiness. But when it comes to strategic takes on projects that leave that out, like you need to be very clear about what makes you happy, because then it's going to help you, move towards it. That's how they showed up. So it's going to help you move towards it. But if you're just clear, like this sort of strategic Queen of Swords energy in the absence of your happiness and truth, it can really take away from your momentum. The Eight of Swords and the Nine of Wands here. And I think that it's like you have to kind of go within on this one. The Hermit's here. You have to go within on this one a little bit, maybe more than what you're used to. But I get that there's like this sort of inward facing energy that's going to help you add that bit of seasoning, that sort of cosmic seasoning, the cosmic special ingredient to what it is that you're working on. And maybe even just where you are, right? It could just be where you are and breaking free from that. Okay, spirits, can you please clarify the Seven of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, and this Three of Wands? Hierophant, whoops, Death, wow. Six of Cups, Star. So I feel like this is, I'm almost getting like a carryover from like, I'm hearing many things right now. Among them is like past life lessons, number one. Number two, I'm also getting that this is an aspect of your transformation that maybe you were you were like putting off, like this is like something that needed to be integrated is what I'm getting, integrated with the star card here in terms of your healing, and healing what this means for you specifically in terms of putting you in things, like putting the you in it, right? I love seeing that even in other readers, like there's ways that that they enter into their reading, and it makes me so freaking happy to see, because I'm like, oh yes, like it's the you in it that matters. It's the you in it that makes a difference, right? Markets can be saturated AF. They can be so full, but when you do something and add you, that's where things shine. And that can be as simple as your particular brand of compassion. That can be the way that you have little jokes that you put into the readings, and these ways, these mannerisms that you have. That can be, if you're clairaudient, I know a couple readers do this. They have songs that come in, and the variety and the accuracy of the songs for the reading, for so many people in the comments, it's just like, it blows me away, right? That's the them in it. My cat agrees. Yes, we listen to a lot of the songs. But that's where it's like, it's stuff like that where like people will have like pets come in, and it's like that makes the reading theirs, and people ask about them, right? So it's like, this is where it's like finding the you in it. It doesn't matter if it's tarot, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything, right? Yeah, I know even when I go to like a brick and mortar building to work right now, I like to have like irreverent humor and do ridiculous things, because I know that the day is going to be serious, and when you get your tasks that you're doing, you can make it fun, or it can be like fun or brutal, right? So like just trying to make it as fun as possible is kind of my thing. But it's like, this is like, it's like calling what it is that's yours, that light in you, that spark out, and calling it into what you're working on. And I feel like it's been something that you've been working on for quite a while with the Seven of Pentacles here. And it's not about finding like a thing that like you can capitalize on. It's like you. What is it about you that's there, right? What is it about your... And it's not that, whenever I hear that, sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, well, that doesn't tell me what to do. But the thing is that it's what it is that you bring to it, and really taking a critical eye to the work that you do. Sorry, my voice. Oh, my voice. Taking a critical eye towards what you do, and that is going to unlock so much of this, right? And like, what is it that makes something light and joy, even through the hard things, right? So that's something to think about as well. But that's where I feel like it sort of unlocks this, I don't want to say spiritual gift, because I feel like it's already there. That is the gift. You're including the gift in this, whatever it is you're doing. There's something that is inescapable here, but I feel like the transformative capacity of what it is that you're doing, right? Sunny Lenarduzzi, or I think that's how she pronounces her name. She has this, I'll put it in a link in the description below. She talks about businesses as having a transformational statement. And I know a lot of people teaching business classes have kind of adopted that and taken that on as kind of theirs, which is great. But I'll put it below. That's what, I started to use to think critically about this. And even just thinking about like what it is, how that transformational statement, the death card here, works in what you do, in where you are, in what you offer to the world. It's really incredible. So yeah. But I feel like there's like some past life lessons that might have made this difficult. I'm really getting at, they're healing, but sometimes it's like you feel like you're like, why am I like this? Like, why can't I get this? And sometimes those are past life lessons. And I've talked much about the 8th and 9th chakras, and now I'm seeing classes for others pop up about it. So they're making money off of it, which is great. But I've debated putting together content to kind of keep that, to democratize that information a little bit, specific to how I've used it for my own journey, which has been quite profound and loud. But that's one of the purposes of the 8th and 9th chakras. In a way, those energy centers help to connect you to higher sources of wisdom that unlock your path, that unlock knowledge like this to you. And it's not like you don't put a quarter in the machine and then things come out. It's about sitting with the wisdom and allowing it to filter through, right? But nonetheless, I do feel like there's this sort of liberation from what might have been making you feel stuck. But this is also possibly past life mastery too, right? Which is the South node in your chart. is the South Node, right? Like mine is in Libra and it's in the 5th house. So of course, creativity would be my jam. Of course it would be working with kids, working with, groups of people in service to fun and play and programs and all that stuff, of course, right? But it's also balancing the North Node too, which is what I'm endeavoring to do here. And I know it'll come about in different ways too, but that's where I feel like this is it's sort of a liberation of that. So it could be that you're adding aspects of this past life stuff. That's evolutionary astrology, by the way. The South Node is considered your past life. It's considered something you mastered in a past life, right? And similarly, if you're looking for past life in your astrology, you could look at your rising sign, and the sign before that was in the past life that's most relevant to the one you're living right now. Similar with the South Node, right? So those are two ways that you can kind of get an idea. It's not, I wouldn't hang out in that too much because it's like, it's the past, right? So it helps you understand things and it informs the present. But if you were to dive into that and make that like the only thing that you base now on, you'd be doing yourself a disservice because it's past for a reason. It informs who you are and it helps you understand your inclinations towards things and why you love it. But at the same time, I feel like there's a way that there's forward movement here. So just respecting that too. Like, I'm all for diving into rabbit holes and being super curious and things like that. So do that for sure. Definitely do that. But yeah. So we have the High Priestess and the Eight of Wands. It's almost like this forward movement, and it feels harder than it is because there's the absence of your intuition. Like, it's all fire. It's all fire, which is good. You need that, but that's where it might make you feel kind of stuck. So Ace of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. And I feel like that's where you're unlocking this with this past life thing that you might be working through. Again, it could just be unlocking an aspect of the South Node. So your South Node could be in a particularly psychic leaning sign. I'm thinking water signs, but also, earth signs get a kind of bad rap here in terms of like, well, they're more material. No. That's not true. That is part of who they are, yes, but it's not like that because there's a depth of psychic capacity in all signs, and the earth signs kind of get like pushed out of that. But yeah, so I feel like there's something new that's here that's it's almost like it's going to be, I'm hearing a way of testing the waters. Because we have the Ace of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. Yeah, testing the waters to see, not like testing as in like, we're going to put this test together specifically, and if you fail it, blah, blah, blah. No. Fear need not apply. This is just an opportunity is going to come along that's going to allow you to see how balanced you are and allow you to tweak things and fine tune things in your energy. Yeah, Leo energy here. It's going to allow you to do that. It's going to allow you to see what your strengths are, literally the strength card. But it's also going to allow you to see the aspects of confidence that you have in yourself and your work. So clarifying the Empress in reverse and the Six of Swords in reverse. We have the Seven of Pentacles and the Empress. I like this energy a lot. It to me strikes me as like an overcoming energy, specifically because the Empress writes herself or themselves, the Vempress, if you will. The Empress kind of finds their way again here, and that's beautiful energy. But it's interesting that the Seven of Pentacles, it's almost like a proper relationship to work, a proper relationship to how you work. And it's almost like this integration energy of the High Priestess and your intuition. When that's prioritized, it's almost like there's not much that you can't do, right? There's not much that you can't do. And I feel like this, like there's a knowing that you have about this. Yeah, Four of Pentacles in reverse, which to me, it strikes me as like a releasing, like you're letting go of things that you don't need to hang on to and that you might have held on to. Again, this strikes me as somewhat past life energy. Like there's stuff that we hold on to in this life and we can't explain why. When we do the work and inquire, we get past these, like we see how it could have been, traumas. We see how it could have been these complexities and nuances of harm that we've experienced. We go through the healing of that. We move past that. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. which is where things like past life regression can come in. Past life exploration can do that as well. My past lives have come to me in dreams and meditations, and also through work in the Akashic records, which, quite a few things for sure. But it's like once that happens, it sort of unlocks an energy. And a lot of people talk about feeling this, the case studies that I've read, people will talk about feeling this sort of unlocking of energy, because it's like a part of them that they were unconsciously blocking has become accessible to them. And this past life regression can also be related to traumas that you experience now. So making sure that you do this with someone who has proper training and who is not afraid to refer you or encourages the integration of some kind of talk therapy or therapeutic expertise if needed, right? So the Four of Pentacles. So we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Empress, the Four of Pentacles, and what else do we have here? The Fool. Yeah, this is beautiful. Like, this is you. It's not just like taking a leap energy. This is also like faith in yourself too. This is faith in yourself, right? This is like that. It's a definite release here. It's faith in yourself. It's moving on, like onwards and upwards from this sort of. It's almost like I'm feeling like the undercurrent of like this stuck energy. I'm hearing the words Windsor hum. So in the city of Windsor in Ontario, there's residents reported hearing this like low hum. Now, not everyone can hear it, but people who do have like had to move because it's just, they're not sure what it is, but it's like a frequency and it's a hum. Windsor, Ontario hum. If you Google it, it's really interesting to me. It would also be maddening. So I feel for the people who had to experience that. But I feel like that low background hum is what this was like. I felt like that kind of, that buzz in the background where it's like, even if you put earplugs in, it's a bodily experience as well as an auditory one. So it's not just that. So I'm getting that it was operating in that way in your life, but there's definite freedom from that here. Yeah. So I have the Three of Wands in reverse, and then the Two of Wands or Two of Swords. So interestingly, you may feel like you don't have enough information to look at the higher vision or version of something, but I think it's important to remember that this is about going within, right? I'm getting major High Priestess vibes off of this. Because it is a kind of going within card, and looking for the information can only take you so far. And I think that might be where you were basing this perspective before, where you were like, well, I know this to be true. I know that to be true. And that's how I know that I can think positively about this. But there's so much that the universe, through that spirit, does in the background that takes all of the things that we've known and just upends it, right? These can be like surprising things that happen. And it's like leaving room for the surprise, because it's almost like you're overworking here and trying to do the work of spirit when that's not our job, right? Our job is to work with what we have, but also to leave room for wonder. And this fifth house energy, right? Leo energy, the star. There's a lot of major arcana here too that would indicate to me that this is the healing of a big pattern. And it seems it could be as simple as this, right? Just realigning expectations so that we can expect positive things from the world around us, because it sounds so simple, but it can be so complex for the ways that its tendrils wrap into and around our everyday, right? Our everyday experience, our everyday lives. So I think it's just about having patience with yourself, through this process. And maybe that's where the Queen of Pentacles is kind of becoming a protagonist. The Queen of Pentacles here, I'm going to clarify as well. Spirit, can you clarify this for my daily creatives, please, for June 27th? 10 of Swords, beautiful. This is like exactly it. It's like you're letting it go. You're letting it go. You're very clear. There's an analytical mind here. This is Aquarian energy. Analytical mind here, but also an eye for the details, right? You're not afraid to look at the details because you can also see the big picture as part of it, which is this beautiful healing energy here. High Priestess. Of course, the High Priestess would come out in this last row. This is absolutely the healing process that you're taking with your intuition. It strikes me as just like an everyday thing. Like the placements of the major arcana here tell me that there's a way that the energy and the knowledge that you're gaining now, it's like a depth of spiritual knowledge. It's almost like an initiation I'm hearing. I'm seeing a page of wands, but this is like, it's an initiation energy based on the major arcanas here. And the way that it's hitting the everyday tells me that it's thought patterns that dominate how you see the world. So just keeping that in mind and being easy with yourself too, through this process of releasing the world. Yeah. Whoa. The world and the wheel. Wow. So this is a really big turn of events. For you, and it could be something that you're reflecting on through the Jupiter retrograde on July 29th. So I think it could be related to that here. This is Jupiter energy. Jupiter energy for this particular retrograde on July 29th. It's in Aries, and Aries was a lot about how, like, the I, me, my of our world, like how we show up in the world. And I think the Jupiter retrograde will be a good time. This is also Saturn energy. So Saturn retrograde and Jupiter, right? So working together, the finer details and believing that you can, but then also being unafraid of looking at how you might have limited yourself in your expansion. And I think this is just a sort of beautiful high priestess reminder that you can not only do what you're aiming to do, right? You can not only achieve what you're aiming to achieve, but you can do it in a way that is that has all of the beautiful seasoning of the Empress in that work. Because the Empress contains all of the queens, right? All of the lessons of the queens in that card and in that energy. So it's almost like looking at the ways that the flip side of each suit might have impacted you, right? So the Queen of Swords is like clear thinking, and it's about an analytical mind that is taking fearless stock of something. But then there's also the flip side of that is being too cold. Here's my baby girl. Hi. It's fine. I'm doing a tarot reading. You're okay. Oh, I know. Don't worry about it. Please. Thank you. Shove a bum. No, not into the camera. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. Oh, no. I might edit that out. Of course she would. Oh, God. My darling. Ugh. Okay. I'm super embarrassed. Yeah. This cat. So yeah, it's like the Queen of Swords is like that clarity, and then the Queen of Wands is like this passion, but there's also like the flip side of those. So it's like looking at that a little bit, but not diving into it in a way where it's all consuming, right? You don't want it to be all consuming. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective to close out this reading for June 27th, please? See me in their eyes. A little bit of a perspective shift, yeah. And I'm hearing this is like the high priestess talking to you. So see the high priestess in other people. Could just be a call to talk to other people's higher self. Could be a call to talk to other people's the spirit in them, like to speak to and appeal to that part of them. Because when you're working with other energy, and sometimes people just are, I'm hearing the word recalcitrant, like they're very obstinate and deliberately so because they want a reaction from you, or they're just, it can be really complicated. People are complicated, right? And instead of erasing their nuance, we need to focus on the nuance of our energy, and their energy tends to respond. It tends to change. And if it doesn't, then you know where to put them, right? In terms of in your life or not so central to it. And that's not to say cut people out, because again, people are not needs fulfillment machines, right? They are so much broader than that. So don't reduce others. But if somebody is being harmful, is what I'm talking about, is setting boundaries for yourself. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective, please? I go where you go. Yeah, High Priestess energy. And what's coming to mind is the title of that book by John Kabat-Zinn, which is Wherever You Go, There You Are. Yeah, wherever you go, there you are. So I think that is, I think it's like maybe there's a way that you were neglecting to see how your intuition is with you everywhere, or how it was operating in every moment, even the ones where you were not feeling great or not having a great time or day or energy. So I'm hearing entry point. Like this is like this sort of story here is like the entry point for higher energy that you're embodying. I surrender my desires and I know the universe has my back. Yeah. I think that's a big deal here. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative collective to close out this reading for June 27th? Yeah, the qualities I dislike in others are disowned parts of my shadow. It doesn't mean that those qualities in others are okay. It doesn't mean that they're not harmful. So don't take this to be an invalidation of your truth or realities, my friends. What this is just to understand where to put boundaries up with that behavior, but then also to do the work of inquiring and being okay. Asking yourself, why did that lay on my trigger? Why did that lay on the doorbell? And, how was my reaction something that needed work as well? Like it's taking responsibility, really taking responsibility for your responsibility, right? That's really it. So that is your reading for today, my darling daily creatives. I really appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for watching. There are other ways you can connect with me on the channel if you like. But if this is where we part, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, that it finds you very well, my lovelies. Take care and have a wonderful day.